Game ones have officially happened for the NBA playoffs. We got some game twos going on tonight. Tonight we got Pistons and Knicks game two, and then Clippers Nuggets game two. But I just want to go over uh, everybody's game one. Some teams will be short because some things were expected. Some games were complete blow offs and everything. First, let's start off with the probably the most ridiculous start to a series you could have. Oklahoma City Thunder blew out the Grizzlies um, by 50 points, 51 points, sorry, 131 to 80. This game, Shea really was struggling shooting. He ended up 4 for 13, 1 for 7 from the field. Um, This was really the, J-Dub and Hartenstein show because, I mean, J-Dub had 20, Hartenstein had 14 and 8. I mean, even Chet had 19 and 10. Like, a lot of people had double digits. Lou Dort had 12. Aaron Wiggins had 21. He was the leading scorer for the Thunder. And some other guys like Jay Will had 9. So, it was just a catastrophe. And on the other side, I mean, Ja was 6 for 17. Jaren was 2 for 13, only ended with 4 points. Zach Edey didn't really have any importance in this game as he only ended up with 4. Their best player was Marvin Bagley, who was 8 for 8 and had 17 points and a half court shot. But I mean, the Grizzlies 6 for 34 from three, just gross. The Grizzlies, there's nothing they could have done. This game was, I mean, pretty much after the first quarter. The first quarter was 32 to 20, so it was still a 12-point lead for Oklahoma City, but I mean, they just never had it. The only lead they had was when they were up 4-0, Memphis, and then the Thunder led by as many as 56. It was just a catastrophe. I don't expect this series. The Grizzlies, I'm sure, could get one game, but I mean, this series, I have nothing to say. I mean, the Thunder are the best team in the league. They've dominated everybody, and this is what I mean. I think everyone expected. Um, we'll do the other one seed. We had Cleveland handled Miami 121 to 100. This was one of the games I didn't pay too much close attention to. It wasn't a very exciting game to me when I was watching. I had other stuff to do. I mean, Ty Jerome had a great game, 28 points, 26 minutes. Donovan Mitchell had 30. Garland had 27. But, I just, again, another one of the best teams beating Miami. I think Miami will probably get swept because this Miami team is awful. I mean, Bam had, I guess, a good scoring game. He still wasn't super efficient from like three or anything. He had 24. Tyler Hero stunk it up. He had 21, but he shot 38%. So again, not much to say here. It was funny because Sunday was like all the 1 and 2 seeds played, and then Saturday was like the 3, 4, 5, and 6 seeds that played, and that's again, yesterday's games weren't the most eventful, just because again a lot of higher seeds. My Celtics beat the Magic 103 to 86. I mean, it was interesting through the first half. I mean, Orlando really kept it close. They took the lead even at some point but right before halftime. They had a lead, but my Celtics ended up pulling it together. Derek White. This was another Derek White Peyton Pritchard game. Derek White had 30 on 7 threes. Pritchard had 19 on 4 threes. He was super efficient with what he did. Tatum had 17 and 14. He really wasn't having a great shooting game. And then he hurt his wrist a little bit. And that just pretty much cemented the fact that this was not going to be a great shooting game because he was still trying, but he was not playing great before he got injured. So I'm not trying to make that excuse for him. Jalen Brown didn't have a great game either. We know he's still going with a little bit of like inflammation in the knees. Porzingis had a pretty bad game, but again, I mean, I mean, Orlando has the second best defense, but they have literally the 30th ranked offense in the league for a reason. 86 points. I mean, Paolo had a great night. Paolo had 4-3. He ended up with 36 and 11. He was just getting pretty much whatever he wanted, which was kind of surprising to me because, granted, Paolo, I think, is when he's healthy, a top 15 player in this league or maybe top 20. I thought he was gonna, and obviously it's only the first game. There's still, potentially six more games in this series, but I thought Paolo was gonna have a rough time. I thought he was still gonna get points up, but I thought he was gonna shoot really inefficient this series. Doesn't look like he might do that because he's kind of a. This is one of the teams that for the Celtics, it's kind of weird to guard because right, most of the teams in the league have like their best players either is like a guard or one of their best players is a guard. That's not the case for Orlando. Their two best players are the positions of our two best players, and while everyone in the starting lineup is a good defender or above average defender, I mean Porzingis not obviously laterally quick. He's a great shot blocker. Tatum's probably the worst defender of the starting lineup, and he's still good when he needs to be, but Paolo is super strong. I compare him to he's literally like a 6'10" Jalen Brown because he loves to, bully his way inside. And, him and Jalen Brown aren't the greatest shooters, but they can have four threes. They can have a night where they're super efficient from three. And that's what Paolo had. Um, I think Paolo's three ball is better than Jalen Brown's, but I'm just saying the physical play styles trying to get downhill are similar. Franz had 23, but other than that, nobody scored above 7 points. Jonathan Isaac had 7 points, and he was the third leading scorer for the Magic. And if you know anything about Jonathan Isaac, his points is not why he is on the floor, especially in a series like this. So they need somebody to step up. I mean, I don't really even know who you would want it to be. I mean, I guess Anthony Black, but again, Anthony Black isn't known for the just being able to score. Like nobody took shots outside of Paolo and Franz. And honestly, I mean, with the way this is going, this is the same thing I think I said about the Thunder series. I Magic could get one, shouldn't go more than five. Um, Now, Houston and Golden State, as you all know, if you watch our main Hoops All In channel, we did our predictions, and me and Worrells we pretty much solidified that Houston was going to make a surprising run to either the second round or East or Western Conference Finals, and I think that's still a possibility. I mean, Steph started out slow the first few minutes, but then he literally made like 11 for 13 on his last 13 shots. He made 11 of them, and that's really what this came down to. But I mean, Sengun had his way with Draymond. Draymond couldn't do anything to stop Sengun, and I think that's the way it's gonna be unless they make changes. But if you know Steve Kerr's not gonna change his rotation for anything. We saw Jonathan Kuminga did not play again. We saw that it said beforehand that he was not going to be in the main rotation. I don't understand why. If you were going to do this, is the same thing they did last year. To start off last season, Kuminga didn't play. Kuminga basically had to request a trade, and then Steve Kerr started playing him. He started blooming, and I think he was my preseason vote for most improved player. He had a good season, but there was the thing around the trade deadline of do we trade him? Do we keep him? People thought he was going to get traded, but then they traded like Wiggins and Kyle Anderson for Butler, so they didn't have to, and it was like this is a plus. But now it looks like Kuminga will be off this team. He will probably go into restricted free agency, and I can't imagine that the Warriors will match him. But while he's here, let him play. I mean, Houston is one of the most athletic teams in the league. You get another athletic wing in there. You can't tell me Jonathan Kuminga can't play over Guy Santos or some Gary Payton minutes, some even Buddy Hield minutes, and then Tracy Jackson, who I think is the best center on the Warriors. He hasn't been playing even in the regular season recently, which I don't understand. If you know me, I'm not a big fan of Steve Kerr for, what he did in the Olympics. He didn't play Tatum. He sometimes didn't play Embiid. He never played Tyrese Halliburton. Um, and then to start off the season, he played like 13 man rotations every game. But the people he's playing are like, no offense, but they're garbage compared to guys like Kaminga or Tracy Jackson. Like, there's no reason this Santos should be playing and Kaminga shouldn't be. Or Kevon, like honestly, Kevon Looney looks horrible now. I don't honestly, I don't. Tracy Jackson should 100% be playing over Looney. I understand sometimes playing post because post gives you a different look. He's a he's a stretch five, but even today he played 12 minutes because I know they like to do this Draymond at center thing, but it's not working. You need somebody big. Draymond's a great defender. He is a finalist for defensive player of the year, which I don't necessarily agree with as much as it should be, but put a real center in there, even though Draymond's a great defender, but he's not a defensive player of the year for this year in my eyes. But anyways, that's a tangent. But I think even with how this game played, Houston can win this series. I know people don't everyone brings out the experience excuse. I think it matters to an extent, but experience is not the reason why Houston is going to lose this series if they do. They're going to lose because they don't have a definitive number one. Again, Sengun is had 26 and 9, but Sengun isn't dropping 30 the whole series. Jalen Green, I love Jalen Green, but he's so inefficient. 3 for 15 tonight. It was awful. And Ime Udoka is a great coach because he'll sit Jalen Green if he's not having a great game, and he'll let Tari Eason finish the game because he's giving us more. He does that with everybody on the team, whether Jabari Smith or, uh, Dylan Bro. He does that with everybody except Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet had one of the worst playoff games I've ever seen. 4 for 19 from the field, 2 for 13, and he played every minute down the stretch. I don't care if he's a veteran. You can't sit Jalen Green because he's shooting 3 for 15, but then let Fred VanVleet throw up 4 threes in like the same possession because Steven Adams and Sengun are working hard for offensive rebounds, and you just have Fred VanVleet throwing up a step back three or something. That was something I didn't like by the Houston Rockets. I really think that the offense is another reason why Houston might lose this series because, again, like I keep saying, definitive number one. They also play these lineups that everybody knows where it's like it'll be Fred VanVleet, Amen Thompson, and then they'll have Jabari Smith, Steven Adams, and Sengun. They'll have like three centers and Amen Thompson. Jabari Smith can shoot. He had 11 points today. He was 3 for 3, but he can shoot. Obviously, Fred can shoot sometimes, but those other three provide really no spacing. Alperen Sengun can hit a three or a mid range every once in a while, but they're out there to get offensive rebounds. They were the number one offensive rebounding team in the league this year. And that's really what got them back into this game late, but they just couldn't close it out. I still have Houston winning this series. I don't think that this is going to. I don't think we're going to get a 31 point, 20, and then a 25-point game from Jimmy Butler, even though he was great. I think Houston can still win this series. I'm not taking back what I said because of one series, or one game, but they have work to do. It's not going to be easy. Houston has this target on them because of how young they are, but I think I still believe in Houston to do it. So, another game I didn't really watch, Pacers Bucks. I had stuff to do. I wasn't able to watch this game, but from what I'm seeing, Giannis tried. From what I saw, watching it back and highlights and things like that, Giannis tried. He had 36 and 12. AJ Green had 15. They had some decent points from some bench guys, but not having Dame's gonna hurt. And we did see Dame will be back by game 2 or 3, which surprising to me because I guess it's different because he had it in a different spot than like a Wemby or I don't know where Chris Bosh had his, but like Chris Bosh had to retire because of it. Wemby had to miss the rest of the season because of it, but and Dame is just good after like 3 4 weeks. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, don't know how it works, but that'll be interesting when he does get back. We saw him and Halliburton have a little moment after the at the end of the fourth there, but it just looked like everyone did their part for Philly, and they got a lot of production from other guys. I mean, Siakam 25. Siakam's been Indiana's best player this season, and he's shown. Halliburton only had 10 and 12. Not a great shooting game, but I mean, almost a triple double. He's still the engine to the offense over there. Nemhard had a good game, 17. Miles Turner did what he did, 4 blocks, 19 points. The only thing that it just looks like with this team is that they don't rebound that well. From what I like, you just look at the numbers and the personnel too. Like Miles Turner's never been like a crazy high rebounder. It's not really what Siakam is either. And then they don't really have a backup center. It's like Obi Toppin or 10 minutes of Thomas Bryant. So, but this is another series that I don't. It's going to be interesting when Dame comes back because if Giannis is playing this well, you bring Dame back. I think Milwaukee has the personnel to win this series, but I think Indiana has the team to win this series because obviously they are so much more deep between having like Aaron Nesmith, TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, even Jarris Walker, who's hasn't gotten much burn because he's in a team that has a lot of players at his positions, but their team is just better. They have more depth, and I think Indiana could. I forget who we picked on the video who we did last week, but I think me and Worlds ended up going with Indiana just because we weren't sure about Dame. But so I guess I'll still stick with Indiana, but um, I still wouldn't be surprised if Dame came back and they ended up winning. My only thing with Dame coming back is if he comes back at game 3 and Indiana wins game 2 as well, which they are the okay, Indiana is the home team. So if Indiana wins game 2, um, which is on Tuesday, does this is Dame coming back too late because they're already down 2-0? That means that he would have to win the 4 of the next 5 games. And I mean, we've seen Milwaukee and Indiana, they love going against each other. They've had the feud in the past few years, whether it's the NBA Cup, the playoffs last year, the Giannis ball thing. There's something going on here to where it's almost like a mini rivalry. But I'm just worried that if Indiana wins the next game and Dame isn't back, and Bucks are down 0-2, it's almost like, is there a point to bring Dame back? Because maybe you just let him get healthy. And by all means, it said the reports I've seen said that he's been taking it slow and he's off his blood thinning medication and stuff. But I'm just worried if he comes back game 3 and not game 2, if it'll be too late for the Bucks. So I don't know. LA and the Timberwolves. Luca had a good first playoff game as a Laker with 37 points. LeBron had 19. Reeves had 16. Um, but we saw a super efficient game from Jaden McDaniels, 11 for 13 with 25 points. Anthony Edwards had almost a triple double, but he didn't. A lot of these stars in this first playoff game did not shoot the ball well, whether it's Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards. What are some other series that happened that like didn't shoot, like Josh Shea, Tyler here, like a lot of these stars through this first game have not shot the ball well, which is kind of interesting. But I mean, they still won by 22 points. Naz Reid even had 23, but um I I think we had the Lakers winning this series. I think they still can. Even though it's a little scary the fact that Luka had almost 40 and they still lost by over 20. But I've said all year that the Timberwolves are not a team to sleep on. They're a 6 seed, but that's not they are better than a 6 seed. Anthony Edwards is one of the best players and scorers in the league today. And I think their team with all their defense and size can go up against pretty much anybody. And I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota does end up taking this series. So, and then the last game, or sorry, not the last game. The Knicks played the Pistons. Cade struggled as well. He was 8 for 21. He had 21 and 12. But this was a game where it felt like the Knicks being experienced and having, the better players really mattered. Cat had 23 and 11. He was super efficient. Brunson had 34 and 8. He had a great game. Even OG had 23. Campaign had 14 off the bench. So this was a series where it looked like the experience thing mattered. But I think that again, the reason that this whole thing of overreacting to game ones is because a lot of teams, like I forget who, there was a coach in the playoffs last year, and I can't remember who it is. I think it was actually Jason Kidd and the Mavericks. Jason Kidd lost like all of his game ones and all of his series because he uses it to test the team out, and then he's like, "We'll come back and we'll get him." It's a strange way to look because you pretty much start off down one game, and it's not him saying that we're going to lose on purpose. Like obviously they still try to win, but it's one of those things where it's like, you make adjustments through the game, but I expect the Pistons to come back with a better game plan to, come back, have some, I think that like Asar Thompson only played 23 minutes. Ron Holland only played 6 minutes. Even though, again, they're not the plus shooters that you would want, I like having them there because I think Asar did great on Jalen Brunson. We saw him force a turnover or two just by beating him to the spot. And I think he can do that. Now, I'm not saying play them both at the same time like they did in the regular season, but I think that he can play, I guess 23 minutes isn't a bad spot because you're looking at a lot of these starter like Tobias Harris 40 minutes, Cade 40 minutes, Malik Beasley 35 minutes, and then obviously the centers between Beef Stew and Duran have to play. So I guess it's not a horrible number to be at, but I would like him to be, you know, play some more minutes just because of what he can bring um, on the defensive side of the ball. But then but yeah, I mean Knicks I think should still win no matter what Detroit does. I think Cade and them could take at least I think Cade and them will take at least a game or two. But there's a part of me that's like if the Pistons get swept, I wouldn't be surprised. It's hard to say, but I think that the Pistons will take at least a game. Um and then the most entertaining game of the day was the or most entertaining game of the playoffs so far was the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. 112 to 110 in overtime. The Nuggets take that. Jokic had almost a triple double, 29 and 12, 21, 29, 9 and 12. Excuse me. He played 46 minutes. He shot, 50%. Murray had 48 minutes, but he had 21 points. He didn't shoot great again. Aaron Gordon had a pretty good game, 25 points. Westbrook had a lot of good offensive rebounds down the stretch of that game. He ended up pretty much winning the game, getting that steal on Harden, but on the other side, the Clippers, I mean, James Harden, 32 and 11, Zubac, 21 and 13, Kawhi had 22. Um, Nicholas Batum had some big threes down the stretch there, but I think me and Worlds we picked the Nuggets to win this in probably 6 games. I think the Clippers can win this series in 7. This might be the series where I switch. James Harden is amazing with what he does. He's been so great this season. Um, and the Nuggets are lucky to have won this game, in my opinion. The Nuggets defense is so bad. The amount of times that I saw James Harden do a pick and roll with Zubac, and then Zubac cuts, a Denver defender steps up, and Chris Dunn or Derrick Jones Jr. slips right back door, and it's a wide open layup. It's disgusting. Their defense is so bad. I mean, the Nuggets will always have a chance because they have Nikola Jokic and a playoff riser in most cases in Jamal Murray, but their defense was really bad to watch this game. And I think having a guy like James Harden and Zubac, who's one of the best pick and roll duos in the league, they're gonna they had their way in the paint. I don't know if I can see, like, Denver had 56 points in the paint. LA had 60. A lot of those came earlier in the game, it felt like, but uh it just but I also think that the Clippers ended up getting lazy down the stretch of that game because there was, Aaron Gordon was shooting free throws and at the end of the game, and if he missed the free throw, Jokic just went right around whoever was trying to box him out with ease, and it was like, man, they just got lazy to me. But those are all the series that we had. I mean, every series has played one game. Obvious again, to me, the best game was Denver Clippers. I think that series will go 7 games. Bucks Pacers could also go 7 games. I mean, Wolves Lakers could also go 7 potentially, but and then Rockets Warriors I think could go 7 as well. I think Cleveland Thunder, Boston, three best teams in the league should all be able to handle their series in no more than 5 games. And then I think New York will be able to handle the Pistons in 5 or 6 games. If it goes to 7, then that's a rough sign for the Knicks because you want to be able to make it out of this playoff round with as much time to rest because next series, you would have to go against Boston, assuming they win. And Knicks haven't had great season versus the Celtics or any of those top teams in that matter. But entertaining playoffs. There are teams that I hope do strike back and win um a second game and the series doesn't go up 2-0. Like, I would love to see the Clippers win their second game. Um I would love to see the Rockets win the second game. I would also, I want to see the Bucks win their second game as well, just so we have some evenness in this. And I want those are I think are the best series that we have. But before we'll talk about tonight's games. First game at 7:30. We've got Knicks Pistons. Obviously, the Knicks are still the home team. I don't think there's any injuries we need to know about that happened last minute. Nope, everyone should be healthy for both teams, other than obviously Jaden Ivey, who's been out forever. I think Knicks take the second game. I don't think they drop one at home. I don't think they drop one at the Garden this early. Um, then the next game, Clippers Nuggets at 10. Obviously, the Nuggets are still the home team. It's only game 2, but I want to see the Clippers win. I really want to see the Clippers win this one, and I think they can. I think they will. Aaron Gordon is probable for injury management. He'll play. They're not going to sit him for injury management when they're only up 1-0 and the game was that close. But um, yeah, I think Clippers tie it up. So we got a lot of we got playoff basketball. This first round is great because we'll get basketball pretty much every day. We won't talk about every series or in every game of the series. We'll just talk about if series get close, if we have some exciting games, some big performances. But if the Thunder beat the Grizzlies tomorrow night by 25, we're probably not going to talk about it because or if the Cavs beat the Heat by 20, we're probably not going to talk about it because those are the things that are not, they're just not we expect it. We expect all those top 3 teams, Celtics, Cleveland, and Thunder to win pretty much with ease. So, but we will, we'll preview when the second round comes along and everything else too. So, um, that's it. I mean, let me know what series you think are the most entertaining, what series you think will be the most entertaining, and then if you have any, surprising picks for to make it out of the first round, so many upset alerts, and I'll read them, I'll respond to them, and maybe we'll talk about them in another episode to see what happens.